In this video, we're going to look at how do I use a component. So here I have a very simple component that renders the word hello world. And what I want to do is use it within this welcome page. So I've got my welcome view model and my welcome view. And in my welcome view, I want to use this component. But there's a small problem. When I go to my page and I refresh, I see that it's not there. Well, why is it not there? So let's first go and check whether the element actually exists. So here I have my welcome page, and yes, the custom element is there, so why isn't it rendering? The reason why it's not rendering is because the custom element has never been defined. So what happens here is that the HTML parses this, sees my component, doesn't understand what that means, so it just skips right over it and says, well, I don't know what that is, I'm just going to ignore that. So why is it ignoring it? Because you have to have custom elements that defines what that tag means and what class to use for rendering that component. And because we've never imported this component JavaScript file, this line of code never ran. Because this code never ran, the custom element was never registered with the system. And because the custom element was never registered with the system, the browser doesn't know what this is. So the easy fix for this is to say, okay, well, let's make sure that this line of code runs. And how do I do that? Well, by importing it when I want to use it. So if I go here and say import, and we're just going to use a relative path to the component, and I now go and refresh this, ta-da, there is my component. So generally speaking, there's one of two places where I want to use my component. Either I'm only going to be using it on this screen, in which case I should be loading it on the screen that I am using it. But what if this component is used throughout the system? Like there are many screens that's going to use the component. I don't want to import this on every little screen that's going to have to use this component. What I do want to do is register it once, and the place to go and do that is on the index.html. So if I go here and I do that import on the index.html, this component is now registered and ready to use on any screen. So even though I've taken it out on the welcome page, if I go back here and refresh, you'll see that it still works. So if you are using your component on a particular view and only on a particular view, then import it on the JavaScript for that view model. But if you use your component over multiple screens, then make sure that you have a loading strategy that runs before those screens are rendered.